Hey everyone, I am doing something a little bit different today. I am going to film myself while showing you the words, and there's one picture for each chapter in the read aloud today. So the screen looks a little bit different because I'm going to be showing you what I'm going to be seeing on my screen, so you guys can see it and read along with me if you'd like to. Or you can mute me and you can read the book yourself. So you have a couple little options. But I hope everybody's doing well today. It is Wednesday. The weather is beautiful. I know it's supposed to get rainy later today, so hopefully you can enjoy some sunshine and be outside for a little bit before the weather takes a turn. Yeah, I don't have much to report today. Caterpillars should be arriving today. I'll be preparing them for you to deliver on Saturday so that you guys can start watching them grow and turn into butterflies. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can do this right. I'm going to make me smaller. I'm going to pull up the book. Here we go. Can you still see me in the corner? Hopefully you can. If not, it's okay. Okay, so yesterday we read chapter 10, Mr. Gorf, where there was no teacher when the kids got there. So today we found out that Mr. Gorf was stuck in the closet and the kids had to let him out. So what we're going to do is go on to chapter 11, and it is called Voices. So if you can see from the picture, everyone looks a little bit worried, a little concerned. So let's find out what is going on. So you can read along with me. You can mute me and read the words, read the book yourself. Do whatever works for you today, okay? Making it a little bit more interactive for you. All right, let's make that smaller. No, that's not what I wanted. I'm trying to make this disappear. There we go. Okay. My name is Mr. Gorf, said the man who stepped out of the closet. And surprising as it may seem, the children weren't afraid. It was his voice. His voice was full of comfort and wisdom like an old leather chair in a dusty library. It didn't matter what he said. It felt good just to listen to him. He was a handsome man with neatly combed brown hair and clean fingernails. He carried a brown briefcase. Nobody even noticed that his nose had 3 nostrils. Since I'm going to be your teacher for the next few months, let me tell you a bit about myself. I was born in the Himalayan mountains in a town called Kathmandu. Kathmandu, said Terence. Cool. Everyone laughed. They weren't laughing at Terence. There was just something about the name of that city and the way Terence said it. Terence's voice was like a rusty drain pipe. Have you ever been married? Asked Allison. Allison's voice was like a cat walking across a piano. No, I'm a bachelor, said Mr. Gorf. Allison smiled, greatly relieved. Good, that means he's not married to Mrs. Gorf. Well, that's enough about me, said Mr. Gorf. How about some of you telling me about yourselves? My name is Mac, said Mac, without raising his hand. Mac's voice was like a freight train. I built the biggest snowman you ever saw. Man, it was huge. I had to stand on a ladder to put the hat on his head. It was a stovepipe hat like Abraham Lincoln wore. But I don't know why they call it that. We have a microwave oven. Have you ever put a bag of marshmallows in a microwave oven? Man, it's like... Mr. Gorf's nose flared. His right nostril flared to the right, his left nostril flared to the left, and the hole in the middle seemed to get larger. Mac coughed. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Thank you, Mac, said Mr. Gorf. Anyone else? Dee Dee raised her hand. Yes, young lady, said Mr. Gorf. Dee Dee giggled. She liked the way he said, young lady. My name is Dee Dee, she said. Her voice was small, but full of energy like a super ball. I like soccer and Ninja Turtles. My favorite... Mr. Gorf's nose flared. Dee Dee lost her voice, too. Who's next? Asked Mr. Gorf. Yes, the girl in the polka dot shirt. My name's Mauricia, said Mauricia. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Mauricia's voice was like a pineapple milkshake. Mr. Gorf sucked it up through his nose. Hey, what's going... said Todd. Todd was silent. Look at his nose, shouted Eric Bacon. It has... Eric Bacon had nothing else to say. Nobody say any... Jenny warned. Tried to warn. Her voice disappeared up Mr. Gorf's nose. Soon the class was quiet. Mr. Gorf's middle nostril had snorted all of their voices. Except for Allison. She remained silent. She knew she'd only get 1 chance to speak, and she had to wait for just the right moment. What good little boys and girls you are, said Mr. Gorf. So nice and quiet. Ha! He laughed. Of course, this isn't my real voice, he said. I stole this voice from a gentleman I met in Scotland. He touched the tip of his nose. This is my voice, he squawked. If a donkey could talk, and if the donkey had a sore throat, and if it spoke with a French accent, that was what Mr. Gorf's voice sounded like. But what he said next was even more horrible than his voice. Mrs. Gorf was my mommy. The children sat frozen in their chairs, too scared to move. Suddenly there was a knock on the door. Mr. Gorf touched his nose. Who is it? He asked in the pleasant voice he stole from the Scottish gentleman. Miss Mush, said Miss Mush from the other side of the door. I just came up to say hello and welcome you to Wayside School. That's very nice of you, Miss Mush, said Mr. Gorf, but we're very busy right now. Maybe we can get together for tea and crumpets sometime. Miss Mush giggled. That sounds lovely, she said. By the way, Mr. Gorf, are you married? No, I'm single, said Mr. Gorf. So am I, said Miss Mush. Miss Mush, shouted Allison. Help, Mr. Gorf is taking... Mr. Gorf's nose flared. Did you say something, Allison? Asked Mrs. Mush. Mr. Gorf touched his nose. Then he spoke this time using Allison's voice. Mr. Gorf is taking us on a field trip next week, but he might need help. Do you want to come with us? Maybe, said Miss Mush. Thank you, Allison. Oh, don't thank me, said Allison's voice. Thank Mr. Gorf. He's the best teacher in the whole world. I'm glad, said Miss Mush. He sounds very charming. And so do you, said Mr. Gorf, speaking like the gentleman from Scotland. He touched his nose. See you later, Miss Mush, said the voice of Eric Evans. Take care, said Calvin's voice. Have a nice day, said Kathy's voice. So, Mr. Gorf is not the husband of Mrs. Gorf, but he is the son of Mrs. Gorf. So, it could be even worse that he's the son. He seems to have a special power with his nose to take people's voices away so they can't talk. So that's a little bit scary. Let's find out what the next chapter is. Ooh, there's Mr. Gorf right there. That's what he looks like. The chapter that we'll be reading tomorrow is chapter 12, Nose. So I hope today you enjoyed reading along with me, or you muted me so that you could read it yourself, which is also a really cool thing to do. But that's all I've got. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will be back tomorrow with more Wayside